This is Robert Anthony Cruz. He was one of the J20, January 20th, people that were arrested in front of the Supreme Court building for exercising your right to speak. That is our First Amendment right to gather and speak. Congress shall make no law that restricts that right. Being in the First Amendment with our exercise of free religion, freedom of the press, it is one of our most fundamental beliefs among all Americans. And you're out there speaking truth to power, and it's amazing. You would get arrested for protesting.
For protest on the outside stairs and the outside quad, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and to be charged and be facing, doing jail time for doing such a thing as protesting at the Supreme Court grounds against the Supreme Court's decisions itself. I was protesting the Supreme Court at the Supreme Court because it was the Occupy the Courts Day on January 20th.
In basic terms, we don't want you to get into any kind of details that would get you into any kind of trouble with your upcoming trial. But like we said, we've got a trial coming up this month regarding your charges. And just explain what led to your arrest. What exactly were you doing when they arrested you?
Well, let's see. I got to the protest late. Someone had erased one of the ones on the board for 11 o'clock, so there was 1 o'clock. So I got there, and the barricades had been torn down before I got there by the people. They had been protesting prior to my arrival. And there was a line of police on the stairs, and we were all standing there. And I had a sign, a big green sign that said, no, big circle with a line through it, said no Supreme Court ink. And we were chanting, protesting, whatever. And then next thing I know, the police just opened up their lines and let the people calmly walk onto the quad. And so we all went onto the quad and we all ran up the stairs. We didn't rush the stairs from the bottom. There's a video I posted at the J20 trial Facebook page that shows, what actually happened. I finally found the girl actually today. I posted it today. We didn't actually have any video of that evidence. The court is trying to say we forced our way onto the quad. So in that regards, that didn't happen. There's visual evidence of that. And I personally thought, my personal opinion was they let us up there. Allowed us to go up there. And then while we were up there chanting, next thing I know, we're being arrested, waffle stomped. I suffered some head trauma and some physical trauma from it. If you look at the arrest picture of me, you can see my eyes are crooked. Okay, my eyes are not naturally crooked. And you can see I'm all red, and you can see I'm swollen. They pummeled me. I was unconscious, for a moment. And they're trying to charge me with an assault on a police officer, also, because they say a female officer hurt her hand while removing my hands from under me. And they said that was my resisting by I did not comply, and I did not react, I did not respond to them saying, take your hands out from under you. I had 4 police officers on top of me, holding me down with their knees and my neck, my back, holding my arms, and I was probably unconscious because when I looked at the video, the whole thing took a lot longer to occur than I actually remember it occurring. I do know that when the arrest started, one person was arrested first passively, and the next thing I know, another person was face planted, and then next thing I know, we're all being arrested that were in that moment.
It looked like everyone was peacefully protesting. I didn't see any, the notorious bottle from the crowd being thrown. I didn't see anything like that. It just looked like things were really getting out of hand as far as the arrest procedures were going. For me personally, that's what I seem to get from the situation.
Is if the court police had put even half the energy into helping us protest, allowing us onto the grounds, making sure we didn't have bombs and weapons, and letting us on the grounds to protest, there wouldn't have been a problem. The whole thing was they don't want people protesting there because they're scared that something will happen. Because in like the 60s or something, when they made the laws so you can't protest at the Supreme Court, it was over some crazy erroneous thing that happened that made them scared of people being there.
It is illegal to protest on the Supreme Court steps?
It's allowed to protest on the Supreme Court grounds or to carry a protest sign on the Supreme Court grounds, including clothing you're wearing. One of the 6 people that's going to court was arrested inside the building for having an Occupy-related logo on his jacket, and when he wouldn't take it off while he was in there, just going around looking at, the inside of the building, the public areas, they arrested him for that.
Wow. Now, the irony of this is you're over there protesting regarding Citizens United, which allows unlimited corporate speech and enhances the idea that corporations are people. And actual people go to the Supreme Court to protest this ruling, and there's such an irony there. I can't get over it. Would you have done anything differently that day? Have you thought about this and thought, if I would have just not carried a sign or anything?
No, I would do nothing different. As a matter of fact, I might even now in retrospect wish I had maybe even gone farther, in terms of protest in that moment. Because after that event, in December, the government did squish a few Occupy camps, did allow the police to do that. But after the D.C. events, after the January 20th event in D.C., and then the January 28th event in Oakland, where the kids had shields and barricades and got corralled in, 400 people, and they protected the people from the police when the police opened fire in a full attack. You can see that at, Battle of Oak Street on YouTube. And after that, they just started squashing the camps like crazy, because what they saw was more than just passive people allowing themselves to be passively taken away. They saw resistance, and that scared them. And so, yeah, they knew it was the time. Financially, most of the Occupy camps were full of homeless, poor, who, when they got all their stuff took, didn't have the money to be there. They don't have the money to get new tents. They don't have the money to get new sleeping bags. They don't have the money to reoccupy, because it was grassroots. And a lot of it did come from the homeless communities joining in the occupations, because they are the disenfranchised that suffer the most.
Now you talk about cost there. Does it seem like the powers that be are making the price of protest too great to bear for the average person, where it just becomes ridiculous?
It is way ridiculous. Okay, like take for instance, 7,395 people roughly arrested at Occupy events. Each person has been generally given the option of a plea bargain to where they don't protest or get in trouble for 6 months or a year, and the charges will be dropped. So right there, you have 7,300 people potentially not wanting to protest again to stay out of jail or to stay out of convictions for protesting that there shouldn't be laws against to begin with.
That's amazing. It really is.
To go out and do it again, Because I'm facing court cases in D.C., I go out and get arrested more. Well, D.C. could take away my OR. They could choose to say, oh, he's getting in trouble. We better haul him in, and then I'm in jail waiting trial. So, yeah, I haven't been out really protesting, like big protests, going to the front lines. I came home. I've done some local stuff a little bit when I can, but there's not much going on here in Redding, California. And, yeah, I'm waiting for the court case to end so that when I'm cleared, or I go to jail, or I'm on OR again for appeal, depending on how that all goes, I can go back to it. Like, I'm definitely, if they don't take me to jail after this court case, I'm going to the rep convention, down in Florida, and then I'm hitting New York for J15, 16, and J7. S15, S16, and S17 for the March on Wall Street for the 1-year anniversary.
Now, is your is your right to speech negotiable in the if they were trying to work something out with you legally?
No, my right to free speech and the fact that I was raised to believe as an American that I had those rights, that I was raised since 1965 when I was born to believe that I had the right to protest at my Supreme Court. I was raised in school, taught it by my government, just to find out the law existed before I was born that I'm not allowed to. Let's see, that's being lied to your whole life by everyone who said they were an authority figure to tell me what was the truth.
You are familiar with Article 5? I take it.
And I read the brief on the website. And I didn't go into it in depth. It's not like, I'm going to study congressional law to understand it. I took the brief for what it was, face value, and I like the idea. I understand that it is a process allowed to us in our functioning government, and it is the last process allowed to us before having to do something greater, which isn't allowed by law. Right. For me, the court case I'm in that has to do with all of our free speech and right to it and our right to assemble at our own government is like, for me, one step, and then Article 5 is the next step. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see my court convict me of doing what I'm supposed to be allowed to do. I got to see this.
I would not want to be in your position, and I do respect that this is a very patriotic move that you're making, and you're doing it on behalf of all of us, and I think that you really do deserve quite a bit of our gratitude about this, and I hope that people get to hear more about this. They get to share your story a little bit more and understand what the heck is at stake here, because this is a big deal.
What's at stake is the power and control and dominion of the human race by the powerful elite, or the protections and freedoms of individual rights, protection to live, to be fruitful, and to have no harm done to us in order to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's a critical time that it's not our choice. The time is making itself because of all the social pressures, all the financial, economic pressures, and all the suppression of people who are just regular people. And, it's not like I'm a terrorist. It's not like I'm out to hurt anyone. I believe in nonviolent change.
Now, what are the potential outcomes of your upcoming trial? What could possibly happen to you?
Okay. I have 4 charges against me. One for illegal entry on the Supreme Court grounds, one for protesting on the Supreme Court grounds, one for carrying a political sign on the Supreme Court grounds, and an assault on a police officer. All are misdemeanors. The first 3 carry 180 days each. And the 4th, the APO, I believe might carry up to a year. They could conceivably, if they chose to, in sentencing, give me all those sentences consecutive. If they wanted to. That conceivably is what could happen, which is 3 years, minus any good time I might earn.
Wow.
If they went consecutive. Then if they go concurrent, right, then it's up to a year, because the APO is up to a year. Then if I don't get the APO, because, I have a picture of the cop with his hands around my neck from behind, and when you zoom in on the neck shot, you can see he's choking me out. And the cop in front has his arms over that cop's hands, so no one can actually see the choking. But the one still shot I have shows. You can see his hands. They're literally, he's choking me out. So I don't think the APO is going to stand, but they did make those other laws. And according to their laws, I broke them. How can I be found innocent for breaking the laws they have in place unless I win on an appeal in a First Amendment appellate court? So I'll probably be found guilty for something.
Every once in a while, people are handed the microphone at an event like this. And if you had been able to stay there on the Capitol steps and actually been allowed to speak so that people could hear you, what would you have told people that day?
I was carrying a very sign that said it all. It said, big red circle, big red line, no Supreme Court Incorporated, which is basically, you know, I don't want my Supreme Court to be bought out. I was there that day to say that. I don't want any entity, you know, that isn't a person to be allowed to even give money to my government officials. It's got to be a person, a human being, hands over their hard-won cash to their official that they want elected. I'm down for that.
Thanks again, Robert, and we wish you all kinds of luck here coming up later, and everybody else that was arrested up there on the steps of the Supreme Court. And so we wish you the best.
Thank you, Dan.
Aloha.